Today we are joined by Anna Donlon, Valorant Studio Head, and Leo Faria. We'll be taking questions from select media and then some loose questions at the end. We'll begin with Gosu Gamers. Peach, if you'd like to go ahead.
Hi, Anna.
Hi.
Thank you for the recent hardware ban update. So I won't get told to go back to the kitchen again.
Well, you might get told, but then we'll take care of it.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate it. So, what were the contributing factors that inspired this movement, knowing the fact that I think it's been going on for quite long? You know, there are quite a lot of female streamers who came up and shared their experiences. Was this one of the contributing factors?
So we've had this problem since launch. We've been making progress against solving the problem since launch, and we thought the majority of our systems were able to catch and actually like execute punishments onto folks that were creating these problems for players. I think that over the last few months, we were starting to see an increase in players feeling abused and seeing increased toxicity. We always knew it was there, but we saw reports going up. We saw reports online going up. And then there was an incident over the last month where that I think really drew my attention in pretty clearly, and then drew the community's attention in like at the same exact time. So it gave us an opportunity to go back and look at like literally everything. Like we looked from head to toe, all of our systems, and we found a bunch of gaps. And they're unfortunate gaps, but I'm sad that we had to go through it, and I'm sad that our players had to go through it. I'm happy that we were able to take the moment though and see where the breakdowns were so that we could actually improve and make things better.
Yeah, just go.
Okay, thank you. Appreciate it. I'm really happy. So the next thing is about replace that we understand that it's still like you guys are still working on it, but do you think when can we expect to see it go live?
No. I mean, the thing about replays is like we've been working on it for a while, and we knew, I mean, it's a meme in the community. Everybody's asking about it all the time. And we knew we needed to give an update. It was actually kind of scary to give that update, to be honest, because it's not ready. And we wanted to talk about it when it was a little closer to ready. But we also knew a lot of players were actually suspicious that maybe we weren't working on it at all, or they didn't understand why it was so complicated. So we gave the update. And I'm really happy that we gave the update. Actually, I think the response from the community has been really positive, and happy that we're working on it. But we don't have an ETA right now. I do know that the team would like to stop addressing memes. So I know that they are personally motivated to ship it as soon as they can, but we don't have dates yet.
Thank you for keeping us in the loop.
Yeah, we will, and we will continue to do that as we get closer.
As for Leo, so I recently saw your tweet that you mentioned the whole, pick your who do you want to go against is
Right.
it was meant for the players to go, but instead the coaches or the managers went. If you were able to go back in time, would you have done it differently? So, we get more limelight on people behind the scenes that
Thank-
doesn't get as much attention.
Yeah. Thank you for the question. First of all, thank you all for being here. We appreciate you very much. We hope you're enjoying the event. Uh, and yeah, look, I think what happened this time, we weren't very prescriptive to teams about who we wanted to see on stage. We deferred to them to choose who they wanted to send to the stage. Some teams chose their coach, some teams chose their manager. I think there's always a challenge on these moments where pros want to focus on the competition. They want to be with their teams. They want to be practicing and screaming. So it's always whenever there's an ask to take them away from that to go do anything on broadcast and features, it's always a big ask. So most teams defer to other individuals. But I think after having done it, we have saw a lot of fans saying, I would have loved to see the IGL's reaction. I would love to see their personality come through and the banter. So I think if we were to do it again, and we might, because I think it worked and fans liked, we would probably ask teams to maybe send their players, maybe have more than one individual. But I think that's one thing that people missed. And yeah, we would consider that for future events.
Okay, thank you. So the next question is quite straightforward. Will Valorant still be keeping the same format for Master Shanghai in Seoul Champions?
Ah, good question. So, look, we have loved what Swiss brought to our shows. We have experimented with Madrid. It worked really well. We brought it to Shanghai. We're probably going to keep the champions format as is. We like very much um, the function uh, uh, that it plays in champions. I think the way we look at these events throughout the year, they all kind of fulfill a different part of our season. And champions is all about crowning the best team in the world for the entire season instead of a specific moment in time. So we like groups. Every choice comes with pros and cons. I think the thing about Swiss that is great is the fact that there's more unpredictability. You don't know who you're going to play against. It depends on your results in the first round. While for groups at champs, you know in advance the other three teams that are in your group, so you can prep against those teams. So you come in with a strategy there's a bit more baked in. So it's a way to probably lean a bit more into competitive rigor than the excitement, unpredictability of Swiss. So we're going to keep champs with our existing format, four groups, GSL into double elimination brackets. It's working well, but we'll see. I mean, if we go through it and everyone's asking for Swiss, we might reconsider for the future, but we like where it is right now.
Thank you so much. We really enjoyed the new format for Shanghai. It's really refreshing.
That's awesome. That's good to hear. Thank you.
Thank you. We'll now go to Valo to Asia.
Yes. Hi, everyone. Hope you have a great time in Shanghai. So,
Thank you.
my question is regarding FIS-TCN, since it's still the first year of FIS-TCN, but there's a lot of interest in the global audience about FIS-TCN. But sometimes like not everyone can fully like immerse themselves because like partly due to the language barrier, only like the Chinese podcast. But do you see FIS-TCN maybe picking up an English stream down the line, similar to how LPL has done in the past? Thank you.
Thank you for the question. I think that's possible. I would say I think that's likely. Whenever we launch a new product, especially a new league, the priority is always to first serve the local market. So we're prioritizing producing an incredible Mandarin feed for the Chinese audience. But to the extent that we're doing that job well, we're definitely going to start to expand. And I think doing an English feed is probably the next step. We've always been very excited about the function that watch parties have been bringing to our sport. So we could probably start thinking about opening the VCTCN to more watch parties in multiple languages and different communities. So, yeah, no promises just yet, but I think that's possible.
Right. So the next question is regarding the international tournaments that are happening this year. So with two out of like three international tournaments happening in Asia this year, so Shanghai and Champion Seoul, there's obviously some give and take. For example, like the time zone difference might be some a bit of problem for some audience in the other parts of the world. But how do you see this balance between like still giving like 50 all across the world, but at the same time also like to the audience?
Yeah, I appreciate the opportunity to talk about that. Look, I think the beautiful thing about Valorant is that it's a game that is equally popular in every corner of the globe. So it's not like we have a concentration of players and fans in a certain region, therefore we're going to favor them. Valorant is very popular in the Americas, in EMEA, in Asia. So we want to bring our events to our communities all around the world. For the past 2 to 3 years, we did a lot of events in EMEA, especially during the pandemic, for a lot of reasons, including logistical ones. In 23, we brought a lot of our events to Americas with Champs LA, and we had Lock-In in Brazil, Game Changers in Sao Paulo, and then we did Tokyo. And then we want to start bringing more shows to the Asian community as well. We hear from fans that they have been waking up in the middle of the night to watch shows in Americas and EMEA for a long time. And yeah, we always want to optimize for viewership because we want to make our events available to the largest audience available to the biggest number of fans. If we were only optimizing for viewership, honestly, we would be in EMEA every year because it's the best time zone to kind of give everyone a little bit of the best of both worlds. But again, we want to bring shows to every fan, all of our communities, and we're going to continue to travel and hoping to keep coming back to Asia.
Thank you for the answer. And my next question is regarding the game. How do you think about the balancing act of creating new maps and agents? I mean, the release schedule has been pretty consistent so far, I think, but surely like there's a limit to the amount of agents Valorant and the VCT teams can adopt and support. So how do you see the rollout of agents and new maps evolving in the future? Thank you.
Sure. Thanks for the question. So it's always a balancing act. I think when we first launched the game, we felt like the game was really content light. We didn't feel like it had enough diversity in the play styles, in the maps. So we were going pretty quick at the beginning. Actually, I feel like we haven't slowed down that much, but I think we've slowed down to a rhythm that we think is probably the right pacing for now. We've got about 2 to 3 agents per year, depending on the year. We're pretty much at 1 map per year. I know the original plans before launch, we were talking about things like 6 agents a year and 2 maps a year, maybe 3 maps a year, like crazy. But as players started playing and we started understanding what they need, the pacing we needed, introducing the VCT and understanding the pacing we were going to need around supporting an esport as well, it became clear to us that there was a different pace of content release that was appropriate. Right now, every time we release something new, it brings something fresh to the game. Clove is our #1 picked agent right now. So far, players aren't rejecting new content. They're not asking us to stop making it. So we'll keep going, but we always keep an eye on it. And if it starts to become too much, then we'll definitely slow down and then pace up again if we need to.
Thank you.
Sure.
So I have another question related to the game. So how much does professional play guide and impact decision making of game mechanics versus like the casual player base? I mean, while the game is still relatively new, we've reached maybe to the point where there are not enough teams globally that can compete at a high level. So do teams meta choices and perhaps like individual players excelling at one agent impact decision on whether to buff or nerf certain agents? Thank you.
Sure, it's a good question. We look at everything, honestly. We look at everything, but we have millions of people. We have millions of players playing all around the world. We cannot optimize game balance for the 200 pros that are actively playing, but we do also need to consider how pro play is being received and how the meta is looking. So I think where we're actually trying to focus more on now is actually the timing of the calendar and making sure that the timing of the calendar is in such a way where we can support both the active community of players we have all over the world and our pro players when they actually need time to get up to speed on new gameplay, new meta, new shift. So yeah, I think we're more focused on the timing of the calendar and trying to optimize for that than making balance changes specifically for pros.
The one thing I would add on the calendar, I think it's a pretty common question we get is why not ship balancing or change on the live game for all the players, but keep the tournament realm, pro play, reserved or on different cadence of change. And we build everything, the competition based on a principle that we want fans at home to play what they're watching. Because one of the biggest, benefits of doing esports is having fans at home relate to what they're watching, being able to see a specific strategy or a specific, thing happening in game and then go try to do that in their own games. And if there is a disconnect, you kind of break that and we lose the value of the sport back to the game and, the whole reinforcing mechanism of. So we always want to keep those things aligned. And that's why we're making some changes to just make it better.
All right, thank you for the answer. I have another question. It's kind of related to both the game and the esports side. So it's been almost 4 months since Valorant released the 50 team capsules. So I mean, we know from the previous announcement that there are some teams benefiting greatly from the release, but I'm just curious on your perspective on how Riot feels about the partnership program's ability to activate new fan base and if it met, exceeded, or maybe lower than your expectation. Thank you.
Yeah, I love that question. So team capsules have been a big bet for us this year. It's the first time we have done in Valorant team branded digital goods, and we had a bunch of assumptions coming in. The 2 key reasons we've done it is to, 1, help teams develop fandom, have their brands in game, let fans express their fandom for their favorite teams. and also to help with sustainability, to help fund the esports ecosystem, to share the success back with teams. And we have achieved both goals incredibly well. Team capitals have been very successful. They have surpassed our expectations, but we are learning a lot. I think one of the things that have been a big learning is just seeing the amount of fans that are choosing specific teams. And I think one of the big questions we had was how these capitals are going to resonate within regions or globally. Are fans going to buy one team, their two favorite teams? And we've been just learning a lot. We're definitely seeing the most popular teams getting, just a lot of attention, and those capsules are resonating a lot. So we're thinking about what the future is going to look like, but we're just happy. Again, it's working. Fans like it, and it's a great way to support the ecosystem. So we're actively working on the future and how we're going to continue to do it.
The thing I'll add, and I loved how you started the question because you said it was kind of the game and the sport. And I think we kind of think about them as like the same thing. A lot of times, like we try to blur the lines. And what's been exciting is to watch how players have really wanted to engage with esports digital content, the team capsules, but also the champion skins, the weapons we did for lock-in. Every time we put out esports content, it's some of our top selling content, like every single time. So regardless of which approach we move forward with in the future, we are super committed to continuing to make content that players can purchase in order to support the esport ecosystem and their favorite teams.
All right. Thank you for the answer. This is kind of a follow-up question regarding the team capsule. Is there any, like, what can fans expect for future releases of team capsules? Would it even be capsules, Gunsin, or something else? Like, if there's anything you can share.
Yeah, we probably can't share too many details right now because we're still pulling in data from the recent ones, but we have the teams actively working on a few different proposals. So hopefully we'll be able to share some information on that soon.
Thank you.
Sure. You get to keep going.
All right. I have another question. How do you think about like the introduction of the upcoming Valorant replay system will impact the VCT? I mean, it's been a big topic in the community, like how it might change things.
I think what we hear from pro teams specifically is that it could be a really helpful tool for them in adjusting their tactics and strategy, right? Teams usually have their own way to handle scrims in practice, and they have their own, most teams do record, but then giving them a specific player POV might be helpful. But I think for them, yeah, it's going to be above all a tool just to fine tune strategies, micro play. I think, like it helps with everything from lineups to map rotation. Being able to rewatch a game from any specific point of view will be helpful, and we're looking forward whenever replay comes to live to offer them that tool and and help in any way that he can.
All right, thank you. I want to ask, what does it mean to have successfully, so far it's been like since 2021, what does it mean to have successfully hosted 11 international tournaments in just 4 years of Valorant in all 4 major regions, like being the host?
Yeah, look, I think we've when we launched Valorant back in 2020, I think we were, first of all, I think our first question is the game gonna resonate? And our players gonna show up? And they did. And we saw the appetite for esports pretty quickly because Valorant is an incredibly competitive game and players want to compete. So we started with First Strike. It happens in the middle of a global pandemic, but we had this huge festival of a bunch of international online tournaments happening all around the world. And we saw the community show up. That gave us confidence to invest. So things developed a lot in 21 and 22. Then last year was a big milestone for the VCT because we launched our partnership system, 30 new teams. And this year we had China. And along the way, our international events have evolved with them. I think we're trying to get sharper, kind of the purpose that each one of them, what they bring to the season. This year we made a few adjustments so the season would feel, it would have a better rhythm to the ear, where we would see the stakes would increase as the season progressed. So that's how we landed at Masters 1 with 8 teams, Masters 2 with 12, and Champ with 16. So it's a continuous evolution, but look, things are better, better than they have ever been. Masters Madrid was our most successful tournament ever. Viewership continues to grow. Fans are showing up more and more. And we're just very happy to continue building the VCT, welcoming new fans. And yeah, can't wait to keep building Valorant.
I'm gonna give like a slightly more emotional answer, because I do kind of get emotional when we talk about this kind of stuff. Like, it's like ridiculously awesome, right? Like, it is an honor to do what we get to do. Like, every single day we get to come into work and make a game that people are playing all over the world and decide where we're going to bring an event to and which players want us to come to their city and how can we host the biggest events and the best parties for them. And like, we're at Mercedes-Benz Arena. Like, when we launched this game, if you told me we were like 4 years later going to sell out Mercedes-Benz Arena, I would have been like, what are you talking about? And so for us, I think we're just still riding the high of what this is and feeling really, really good about it. And I get to travel the world with Leo and our teams, and we get to meet players. Like, we spent the last few days meeting players in China, and it's honestly, it's like the biggest honor. So I think if you would have said, hey, you're launching a game, do you think you'll have 11 international events in this few years in these types of places with this many players? I would have said, that seems like a dream. And now it's like a dream that's coming true for us. So yeah, we're just honored to be able to do it.
How about your experience being at Valorant Masters Shanghai, or like in Shanghai in general? Like, have you come across anything personally interesting during your time here?
It's been incredible. We've had such a good time. We've actually been here for over a week now. And we couldn't come for the early matches, but the two of us have been here for over a week with some of our team. And it's been great. We've been running around the city, going to a bunch of different of the activations that we've seen all over the city. Went to a rave last night. That was incredible. But really, it's like we launched the game here almost a year ago. And since then, we haven't had an opportunity to really come to town and get to meet the players that are playing the game. Like, the last major trip I made here was when we launched the game. And so being able to come back and actually meet the community and get to know the players and see what they like and what they don't like, what they cosplay, how they show up, has been really, really great. Do you have anything?
Yeah, look, I think +1 to all of that. But I think for me, when I walked into the arena yesterday and I saw it full, it was a really special moment because the way that the Chinese community and the entire community, honestly, have been embracing Valorant, it's just so humbling. We sold out in 20 seconds, like one of the biggest arenas in China. We put tickets on sale and they were gone. It was like, it just shows how much players love this game. And as Anna said, it's just an honor to be here and be able to put on this show and this party. So that felt really special. I think this whole week has been feeling like a big celebration. There's so much going on in Valorant, but I think just being here and feeling the energy of the crowd is, incredibly cool, and we're just very happy to be here.
All right. Thank you so much for the
Yeah, thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you. We have a couple of extra questions that are coming in from the media. If you'd like to go ahead. Yeah.
Hi, and then Leo. This is Ben from Taipei, and it's a media representative. And nice to meet you guys. And so for the first questions, we see many cross-brand cooperation and community events during the Master Shanghai. And besides this cross-brand cooperation, is there any possible to see any other cooperation in GAN or out of the GAN, maybe different GAN IP or different brand?
Sarah, do you want to answer?
Yeah.
Sure.
Sarah, you want to come up?
Get description proposal. Thank you.
It's been actually really exciting since we've launched the game to see the partners and creators that want to collaborate with us. So it's an area that we are very interested in. More and more people, as they get to understand the game, the vibe of the game, what we're trying to do in music and culture, we are seeing more and more folks reach out to us and ask for collaboration. So I don't know about cross IP just yet. We're still trying to build our IP. So I think we're probably going to be invested in the Valorant IP for a little while, though I will say we've already done one collaboration with League of Legends, and I wouldn't be surprised if we did another one pretty soon. But in terms of other game IP or other brand IP, I think that might be a little while. But around the game, I think we're really excited to see where we can continue to do more cool collaborations. Yeah, for sure.
Let me just explain our little joke. Sarah Schutz, head of games publishing at Riot.
Yeah, she's
City
our head of
Control.
games publishing. She will deal with all the collaborations and partnerships. You
Right.
can ask her later.
Okay, thank you. And for the next questions, now we've seen two VCT masters this year. Based on the experience of the two successful events, what's your expectation and how to prepare for the VCT champions in Seoul?
Oh man, we have so much in store. Champs is always the biggest moment of the year for Valorant. It's the moment where we pull all the stops. You might have heard us talking about it, what we do in this way, but like we see these events more than just a professional competition. It's more than just about the two teams on stage lifting a trophy. It's really, we try to make it a culmination of a year of Valorant when we bring the entire community together and we make a show out of it. So there's everything you would expect from, Valorant champions. So have a ton of things in store. Probably don't want to spoil too much, but yeah, I would encourage all of you, especially across Asia, if you're willing to fly to Seoul, it's gonna be an incredible fest.
It's going to be really good. We're in meetings constantly right now, getting preparations finalized. And it is like every time the team comes in with a new idea, then another team gets excited and has another new idea. And I think this is going to be our best champions yet.
Okay, thank you. And for the next questions, in the 22-24 season, we can see that the Master Madrid starts from March, and the tournaments that continuous run until the champions in August, and we can see there's almost no break for the pro team or pro players. So is there any issue from the pro player or from team because they need to practice for a long time and travel from countries to countries?
That's right. Thanks for the question. So look, designing a competitive calendar is always a balancing act. Because what we hear from the teams that don't qualify to global events is that they don't get to play enough. What we hear from the teams that do qualify is that they play too much and there are no breaks. So we're always trying to balance, and it is tough. With that said, I think the calendar in 24 is particularly tight. We had to delay the start of the season because we wanted to give teams in China, VCT the same amount of prep time we gave the other teams when we launched international leagues in 2023. So that made us start the season late in February, and with the season ending in August, we don't have a ton of breaks in between. And for teams that make deeper runs at international events, they do not have a lot of time, and that creates a bunch of challenges, right? Sometimes they need time to prep, sometimes they need more time to rest, sometimes they need more time to get visas to go back to their hub cities where international leagues happen. So we have a lot of empathy for those challenges. We've been talking to teams, but the good news is that we're going to, solve that problem next year. We're making some significant changes to our calendar to make the whole experience for Valorant better. I think the biggest change is that, and I'm not even sure if we have announced that. If we haven't, we're going to do that right now. We're gonna end the season in October. So that's probably just going to give us more time to work with more breaks in between competitions, and we hope to make the whole experience better.
Thank you. And last question is, what challenges does the team think Valorant might be facing currently? And have you been any difficulties in promoting both VCT or Valorant? It's questions for you too.
Challenges. I feel like we've been launching the game since we launched the game. Like, it has been such a huge effort just to get the game out to all of the players who want to play it, make sure that it's the game that they want to be playing, make changes and adjustments based on the feedback that we get. The team, I think the biggest challenge is for the development team in particular is that they have been they worked for years just to launch the game in 2020. And since then they've been bringing it to more players around the world and then bringing it to launch in China, which was a significant effort for the team. And then you might have heard that we announced, I believe this morning, that we're about to launch console as well. So the team has been actively working on just bringing Valorant to as many players as want to play it nonstop. So I think that is probably the biggest challenge, not from a promotional perspective, but just from a energy perspective. They love making Valorant. They love making Valorant for players, but it's been a lot and it's been a heavy lift for them for a while. So I think what I'm really excited about for next year is that a large group of our development team is going to get to really focus on just like on the core game and really understand where it's sitting and have a full year to just think about like what is the state of the game and really focus on that more closely than just launching in new places, because launching is a huge effort. So I'm excited for them for that. How about you for the VCT?
I would say, look, we have a few challenges. One of the biggest ones, it's a good challenge to have. We call them champagne problems. Good problems to have, but still problems is,
Taylor Swift calls them champagne problems too.
oh, okay.
Yeah,
So
she
there you go.
does.
We're in good company. By the way, we hang our poster in this venue next to Taylor Swift. So
Yeah, we did.
that was cool. That was an honor. But I think it's just accounting for the demand that exists for Valorant and for competitions, teams and fans and pros. Everyone's asking for more, right? People want like, can we have more teams? Can we have more international events? Can we have more matches? And as much as we love seeing that appetite, it's always a challenge to balance quality versus quantity. We have 3 events a year, and that's one of the reasons why they get to be great. They're, having 3 allow us to really focus on them, put our energy, our resources, and be in some of the most iconic venues around the world. So I think finding a way to give them more without compromising quality has been a bit of a challenge. And again, it's everything from the number of players to the volume of matches to the number of events. And yeah, we've been iterating. We'll continue to iterate, but that's definitely a challenge that we've been addressing and dealing with for the past couple of years.
Okay, thank you. Thank you for answering these questions.
Of course, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. And we have one more question that was submitted from the Thai media that I'll ask on their behalf. I'd like to ask about the overall view and result of the Masters Shanghai. How satisfied are you with the fans who attended the venue, and how about the collaborations with the various local brands such as the Hot Pot restaurant, cafe, and ice cream shop here? What has the feedback been like?
Yeah, so we're very happy. I think Madrid was such an incredible moment. Again, we broke our all-time viewership record. We saw honestly, just a lot of clouded teams qualifying. So that just brought a lot of hype, very interesting storylines. Everyone loved seeing Sentinels back on the international stage. So that whole moment was incredible. And I think it just built a lot of momentum going into stage 1 and now bringing us to Shanghai. So it's been an incredible season for us so far. We've been experimenting with a bunch of few things. We talked about Swiss. This was also the first year we did the kickoff tournament to help, start the season. And it's been great. We're very happy, very excited, and couldn't have asked for a better 2024 so far.
Yeah, for the community stuff, I don't have information yet on how all of those things went. I think right after we finish the event, we'll be getting together to see how different ones resonated and which ones were more effective. I think just in terms of our just like general philosophy and ambition, I think these are the types of things we want to do. Like when we come into town, we don't just want to show up in the arena. We want to show up in the places where players are and where they live and where they do their celebrating and eating and socializing. So, and we want to do that in a way that really feels really authentic to the local communities, but then also really authentic to Valorant. So that's actually been really exciting. I think we will continue to do that. I would like to see which of these activations were the most successful. I think we went to all of them today, maybe almost all of them today. We didn't do Hot Pot. We didn't do because we had to come talk to all of you. Thank you. We didn't get to do the Hot Pot, but we did all the other ones. And it was really, really fun. I recommend the strawberry milk ice cream at the gelato. Yeah, it was really good.
Anna and Leo, thank you so much for taking the
Thank
time
you.
to speak with us today.
Thank you so much.